Getting jobs is never easy.
Yeah.
High size of that business.
Yeah.
They've got like 15,000 e-commerce
Oh my
across the globe, and you're like,
So what advice would you give to somebody who's starting off in a company as maybe a head of or a senior marketeer and wants to become CMO and work and do well within these growth businesses?
I think as you move up, the first thing you've got to do is
Alrighty, David. So nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I think we just met last night, but
we did.
Jack is really good at intros. I'm going to try and do my very best.
Okay.
So you've previously been at Aspinall and Charles Tyrwhitt.
Yes.
Did I say it right?
Yep, that's right.
And you've had kind of a bit of an interesting career. So you've kind of gone B2C, B2B.
Yeah.
You've gone very much e-commerce as well. Tell us a little bit more, I guess, if I got that right.
Yeah, So I think I kind of say to myself, my key thing is e-commerce, leadership, digital transformation, customer focused. Generally, I've worked for brands. Mm-hmm. So yeah, as you said, I've sold virtually everything, but they've always had that e-commerce element at the core. So I used to sell books and music for bol.com.
Cool.
And then Charles Tyrwhitt, so sold suits and ties.
Tell us about that man in finance.
I will do in a minute. To Bowers and Wilkins, so that was selling luxury speakers and headphones, and then Dashi Decker's brands for nearly 10 years, which is UGG, Furry boots, and Hoka running shoes.
They're coming back.
Fashion always comes back in a
sense. It does.
It always does. And then some time consulting, Aspinall, and I've just the last few years I've been working in B2B e-commerce, which is a complete shift. But at the end of it all, there's always some common themes across them all that you bring across to everywhere. So I'm a bit of a generalist.
I love it.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before, B2B, B2C, which one's harder? Is it transferable? You've kind of said it's, similar.
They have different, there's first the similarities. So the similarities are, individuals do use that website, but they use it very much in B2C. The difference is the marketing and the need for inspiration and content is so different to B2B. Mm-hmm. B2B is about the function, it's about speed, it's about being able to sell things that people, they need at that time, and the right thing as well with the right knowledge, completely different. And it's much more repetitive, so you get that element of repeat ordering. But there's a lot more complexity under the hood when you go onto B2B e-commerce website, whether it's, it sounds really boring stuff, like you said, but it's the financial side of things, it's the pricing, so there's a lot of complexity there, and the volume is huge. So that's the big difference, I think, for B2B e-commerce. But at the end of the day, you come to a website, you're still browsing, you still need to know, you'll be able to find what you're looking for. You still need to be able to sell that to them. You still need to be able to cross-sell and upsell to them and make it easy for them to purchase. So, those are the similarities. But the difference is, I think, B2C, you've got a almost infinite audience to go after. B2B isn't that at all. Very different.
And what was it like though, those first 3 months, first year going from B2C to B2B? Was it a steep learning curve, or was it just...
I think there's definitely a steep learning curve. I think ultimately you're learning about, I moved into something selling medical supplies, which is completely different from selling furry boots and lovely handbags from Aspinall, or doing other consultancy. So there's definitely that learning curve about the types of the customers and then the users within them. So you've got to know your personas of who's buying on those websites, and it's very different. And I think the other thing which is certainly from a digital marketing perspective is just that, you're there thinking, right, okay, how am I going to build my acquisition strategy here? And and you've got to get your head away from that to an extent. You've got to really think just a little bit differently.
So you've had many roles as e-commerce director, head of e-commerce. I know Ellie mentioned it, because your husband works in finance, so always wearing Charles Tyrwhitt shirts. I'm pretty much wearing one every single day. So how was that experience starting off over there?
I worked there for 3.5 years. I love that place. It was a great, and Nick Wheeler, who's the owner.
I love that.
Nick Wheeler. That's where I really learned about customer first.
Awesome.
Customer first, building your business around the customer. He was obsessed
loyal.
with that. And loyal to it. But everything was based around, he'd go and listen. He'd go in the call center when he was in the office, nearly every day to go and listen to calls. And you just learn that element, and you listen to the customers and things. And then obviously the importance of having probably, he was, quite far ahead and was really got into digital, understood the need for it. But
cool.
Also so I think that was really a really great place to work, great product, Shift to CC.
It's an amazing product.
You know, I mean,
Love
obviously,
Yeah.
again,
My husband is so loyal. I reckon he's like 15 years.
It's
loyal.
4 for 100. I don't know. It's 4 for 125.
Is it?
I don't know.
Probably,
There
yeah.
was, always the same things, but yeah. And then also there, I think the other thing was that real exposure to international.
Yeah.
So I was running, you know, the UK business, German business, and then a US business. So it was a real understanding those variances of cultures and how you would
Totally.
go after marketing. US very different. You know, much more around financial centres and location than
Yeah, because where's
UK
the biggest? Where are they biggest?
God, that was a while ago.
I
The UK was the biggest market.
Yeah,
and
UK?
then the Germany
So
was
big
definitely
in Oz,
growing.
but obviously like smaller market. But it was just like number one.
But we
for-
shipped everywhere. But
Yeah.
But this was in the days before people didn't have. You know, we had separate websites and had to keep them all together and try. There was a lot of effort and localization you had to do. You know,
Yeah.
just from inches and centimeters and
Yeah,
sizing
true.
as well, because in fashion, you know, I mean, a large in America is different to a large over here. You know,
Oh,
so
yeah.
all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow, cool.
and same with Decker's brands with UGG, you know, you'd have that issue with, you know, the size, US sizing and you know, UK sizing and trying to get those things right.
And what was that like at Decker's? Because that's American owned. So could you do a lot there? Because a lot of the American owned businesses, the strategy is formed in America.
It was quite an early at that point. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was flying, it was growing, and it was growing into an enterprise level business.
Yeah.
So I actually had a fair amount of flexibility there.
Nice.
I just didn't have the capacity to develop the websites and do that work, do the localization, and lack of understanding that of Americans of Europe and the complexities there. I went off and did my own. We did our own stack for a while and shared where we could, which was the right thing to do at that time. We had to go back and be a bit more global in our strategy, maybe about 5-6 years later. But we had to do that because we were just moving too fast.
And now you're in B2B. So what would you say the main differences are? B2C versus B2B.
I kind of covered. I think I just kind of covered it more. I think the website experience and the repeat ordering is completely different. That repeat purchase, the need for personalization, CRM. You know, that is really. That's the big thing, I'd say.
What do you think about going with the sales team though, you know, because then you've got
And
a very
sales team as well,
different, because we were talking about before, is
Yeah.
that, are you super involved in the sales side versus now? Because previously you're probably, you know, you'd have, when I say sales, sorry, I mean like the customer service team, right?
Yeah. So I just did a post on LinkedIn about that actually. I was talking at a B2B online event, and I was saying actually, so I do compare it from being in an omnichannel business to working with the retail team, because you still have your call center where you get the customer complaints, you hear where the issues are. And then in the retail team, you always, or in the sales team with B2B, you're hearing about what they need to sell the product. So, I think it's kind of similar in how you have to interact with them. But I think where I see the job is always putting the customer frictions at the center of it. And then if you resolve those, their sales team's job will be better. Because sometimes, and this is the same with retail, if you're fixing, you know, most time you want to get a frictionless experience, an omnichannel experience, one that can go offline, online. If you're always hearing to what the sales teams find annoying rather than what the customer finds annoying, you're not fixing the problem.
True. Yeah.
You need to fix what the customer friction is. So you might have someone saying, I can't think of an example now. There's a problem with this on the website, there's the payment thing's not working. Actually, and it's what it is that the sales team are having more admin to do. But actually, you go and look at where the root cause of the problem is, you go and fix that. That then solves it. And I think that's the other thing with B2B, I think. Right now, it's definitely like B2C was about 10 years ago in that change management and friction and digital teams being able to work with sales teams to work out.
That's so true.
Yeah, what are the things, how can we work together so that you can go and do selling?
And do you believe they should be under? Because I've been in previous companies where they've merged them together. So CMOs will have the sales and everything underneath, or you might have a sales, you know.
I think all kinds of different.
What do you think?
Like that. I do think sales should sit under sales altogether.
Okay.
Commercial should be commercial. I think marketing is a function that either sits separately or sits within sales. I've seen it in sometimes it works and doesn't. I guess where I've not seen it work personally is when I've reported to a brand director. That does not work, because if you're doing e-commerce trading, that e-commerce trading is not. It just doesn't work.
It won't work.
It just doesn't work. So I think you need to keep that element of it. You know, if you've got if you're in e-commerce, you're a commercial team, you're running a channel. You're there to try and drive trade at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's a commercial function.
That makes
Now I've seen marketing teams pulled out and then put back in.
Yeah, I know.
And then you have brand and performance marketing, so you have that element of all the
I
splits.
hate that. Sorry, the brand versus performance.
I know. It's like,
I just wish we were all together.
Yeah.
But I've had so many businesses where it's come, which is why this is not a plug, but why I started Full Service, because I was like, I don't care if you care brand, it is together, and we have got the same budget.
Yeah.
But I think it's obviously you're changing fundamentally people's habits, right, and their roles. So it's just like, I get it's hard.
And I think that's when you're a director or you're at that level above, is just to cut through that and say, look, ROAS.
Literally.
Sorry, I'm wobbling that a little bit. I got so excited I whacked the mic.
Yeah, so can you tell us a bit more about, like, I guess you've had some amazing roles. You've gone consulting, you've gone for some amazing brands. How have you kind of made the shifts for each, and how have you progressed in your career?
So it's an interesting one, because that's why I have moved around. I've always looked for a new challenge. I've always looked for where I think there might be an opportunity and gap to grow something or start something or transform something. So I mean, I went to Charles Chirrut, that was obviously an opportunity to learn more about, be more customer-centric and oversee, digital marketing, ECRM, web development as well. So there's a lot more scope then. And then moving into Bowers & Wilkins was like, well, I want the challenge. I thought direct-to-consumer was coming, and I was probably a year or two too early on that. But that was when it was like, brands, that distributor network, and we sell through stores. We don't sell online, And it's like,
love it.
And you have that. So I went, okay, we'll do that. Started up an e-commerce platform there. But and then Decker's brands was similar. Like, brands selling direct was becoming really important. And I thought, that consumer brands element, getting that balance with wholesale and retail was fascinating. So that's where the jump has always been, going somewhere and showing a form to make that change. And I guess the same with B2B e-commerce is it feels quite nascent, quite at the beginning of where it's at. Just been at a show and you can always tell when you go to a show, a conference, and by what suppliers are there, and seeing all the suppliers there. All the suppliers used to be at the kind of suppliers used to be at the e-commerce, the B2C conferences about 10 years ago, e-commerce platforms and all the foundational stuff. You go to e-com expo now, and it's just like there are so many small startups, doing really clever but like very much B2C marketing kind of technologies, MarTech, I think, and lots of AI. But I think it's just that you can see that there's opportunities there. It just needs that shifting, and that's where I kind of excel.
But has it been easy getting the jobs, or like
getting jobs is never easy, and I think
the
higher you get up, the harder it gets. It becomes more difficult because you're up against some great people. And you've got to solve their problems. So from my world, if those problems are that you've got a nascent business that needs its e-commerce to grow more and build a really strong team and deliver really good customer experiences, then that's what I do.
And a good way to get into a brand is going in, interim. So you've been interim, you've been perm. You can get in there as a perm employee and getting part of the whole company structure and politics. And then from a contract perspective, just go there, literally blinkers on, and then just do a job. So what's the difference been like between contract and perm, would you say?
Yeah, I think there is that. You're going in, you see some similarity. You recognise some of the things immediately. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities, but going into those and just seeing the different types of business and how they're structured is really interesting. I mean, sometimes from going into I did some contract work working with on a project for Unilever, and that's like just completely huge. I mean, Jesus, the size of that business. They've got like 15,000 e-commerce professionals, across the globe, and you're like, to then doing something with Aspinall, which is an owner business, and all the quirks that you have with that, but a really nice small brand. I think it's you just have to. I think probably having been at different sizes of businesses kind of helps there.
Yeah. Like we did a poll on LinkedIn this week.
You love a poll.
I love polls. LinkedIn polls.
We love
But we did a poll. So it was the difference. So what would you rather work for? So an owner-led business, or would you work for like a big corporate? And I thought literally people would want to go corporate, but 75% voted for company-led owner. So
it depends at the stage of where that business is at.
Yeah.
Because if you're at a senior level, you want to be there where they want right. I've grown it. It's generally they've grown to 40, 50 million. And they've got to a point where, and they've got to that point, and they're really entrepreneurial, but they need someone else to come in and grow it to that next level.
Yeah.
And at a CEO level or someone like who just knows how to do that, become a mid-sized SME. So that's so you need to know what time to go into that.
Yeah.
But it depends at the level you're at, yeah? I mean, if you like having your hands all over everything and you want to work for an owner-led business and start up and there's an equity opportunity, and you'll probably want to go in and do that. But it really depends on where it's at, you know. I'm sure, you know, you look at Gymshark, that's a very different owner-led business that was.
Yeah.
But he equally, very quickly early on, decided to get a CEO in, and that's probably what helped him grow. So, yeah, it really depends on your personality.
I love that story, actually. The Gymshark one is interesting.
Yeah, it is.
That actually is a good point, because have you ever maybe had an opportunity come your way and you thought, it's not the right time, and then you've gone somewhere else, and then this other company that you passed on actually just kind of shot up?
Yep. I can't say who though.
Yes.
I can't say who, but
yes. There's a few of those. I think there's those sliding doors moments where you go, I could have been there. But look, I was very lucky to be at Deckers Brands.
Yeah.
That was
I was there when I was flying, and it was a really exciting place to be. You know, and it's fun being in a growing company, but you got to be really careful. You need to have the opportunities where it's in situations where it's not growing so much, or in other companies where they're struggling, because you need to know how to deal with adversity. And things like that. But but it's equally, when you're in a growing company like that was great.